So I know in some of my recent videos, I've been talking about generational strength. And honestly, I think it's a conversation we need to have more of. Because growing up, generational trauma wasn't something we sat around talking about, but it was something that we knew. We could see it in how people responded to life, how they handled emotions or processed stress. And I just feel we don't talk enough about the strength it took for the people before us to keep going, the resilience, the determination it took to survive some of the things they had to endure, and yet they still persevered. So yes, I acknowledge their pain, the struggles of those who came before me. But at the same time, I knew I didn't want to become it. I didn't want to wear it as my identity. And I noticed that there's always these conversations about what hurt us. And I question that. I question, why do we just get to see the hurt? Why do we only take that from our past? We are so much more. You know, one day I came across this post, and it says, yes, there were generational trauma, but there's also generational strength. And I said, yes. I said, yes, there also generational strength. And it made me feel justified in how I was feeling. That I wasn't crazy for wanting to focus on the reasons why we get to experience peace, freedoms, and opportunities that we get to experience today. And I just want to be clear, I didn't say everything was perfect. But why do we only focus on the hurt, the traumas, when there's so much more to our past? I think it's time that we start focusing on our strength, our resiliency, our willpower, our love. Because people talk about trauma as if it explains everything. And yes, it may explain a lot. But what people forget is it took strength for our ancestors to survive what they've survived. Strength to keep going. Strength to keep living. And if that strength existed in them, why do we act like that strength doesn't live in us too? I believe this so much that this energy shows up in how I support people. Now, as a coach, yes, I'm compassionate. And yes, I'll let you say what you need to say. But one thing about me, I'm always going to remind you of how strong you are. Even when you are feeling sorry for yourself, when you're experiencing setbacks, doubting yourself, I will always remind you of all the things that you've overcome. Even my family know this about me, especially my daughter. I will let you feel what you feel, but I'm never going to let you forget your strength. No, ma'am, and no, sir. And I just want to be clear. You have a right to be hurt, disappointed, angry, but you do not have a right to allow it to stop you from living, from believing that you can have the things that you want for your life and expecting them. No, you can't control other people and you can't control what they think, but you can control how you feel and think. So why don't you do it for your benefit and not your detriment? You're not weak because life challenged you. We all experience that. No one goes through life without challenges. And you're not broken because your family experienced pain. It is clear that you come from people who never gave up, people who survived things that no one should have to endure, and somehow they still find a way to keep going. That strength is not separate from you. It lives in you, and I mean every part. And maybe it's time you stop identifying with what hurt you and start honoring the things that got you here. Because you are not just the continuation of their pain and their traumas. You are the continuation of their strength, their resiliency, their love. Never forget that. And I want to leave you with something today. Now, if you're feeling brave enough, you can leave your answer down in the comment. So what changes in your life when you finally start believing in the strength that carries your ancestors lives in you too?